Today I'm going to talk to you about a really nice technique that you can use to create spontaneous paintings using watercolour. There's very little brushwork involved, and I use a secret tool that some of you may or may not have seen me use in the past, and that is cling film or plastic wrap or food wrap or whatever you call it. And I'll take a sheet of that and just scrunch it up into a ball, not too tight, just leave it so it's sort of quite crinkly on the outside, and then you can use that in wet paint to create some really interesting textures and foliage on trees, grasses, anything really, whatever your imagination can come up with. Now I started as usual by wetting the paper all over, just using a spray bottle, and I've mixed up some raw sienna in that well there, and it's quite wet, and then you just dip the cling film in it and then just print onto the paper, just moving it around, random dabs. Okay, I've just squeezed out a bit of Indian yellow there as well. That can add a nice glow to it. Again, just mix that in with the raw sienna, still keeping it quite wet, and just lay that in over the top. You want to move fairly quickly when doing this because you want to keep the paper wet. And just move that around randomly, just leaving some areas unpainted though. That'll act as light, and put some cerulean blue, a bit more Indian yellow, just to create a nice soft green. Again, just moving that around randomly. Okay, it's starting to dry out a little bit, so just back in with the small mist bottle. And mix a slightly darker green now, so some ultramarine, some raw sienna. Bring that down towards the bottom of those trees. It's getting a bit darker. That's ultramarine, burnt sienna, some Indian yellow. I'm looking at it now. I think it's going to be a river scene. So I'll reflect some of that down into the water area, which is about a third of the way up. And just bring that across the top of the trees just for some shadow. Now I think that's kind of formed a nice light area. So I'll try and leave as much of that as I can. So light in the sky and then the light reflecting down on the water. Now just switch to a small calligraphy brush and just add some raw sienna into the mix, and then again keeping it quite wet. Just mark out some sort of very rough tree trunks and then reflect that down into the water. Like I said, you want to keep that quite wet because you'll see in a minute I'm going to drop paint into it and allow it to paint itself, so to speak. Just putting these tree shapes in at random really, just trying to create a nice pleasing design with them. Okay, some cobalt blue, ultramarine and some magenta, mix up quite a dark deep purple, and grab a larger brush. Again, it's quite wet, try and soak up quite a bit, and then just squeeze the tip of the brush and allow the paint to fall onto the paper, and it should pick up where the tree trunks are and where there's still some moisture on the paper, and then move around into it. I'm going to add some cerulean blue as well and put that nearer to the bottom. Hopefully that will separate and create slightly lighter reflections. Okay, just tilt the board, lift it up, move it around, and just allow the paint to go where it wants. You can see it's following the trunks. It's also finding its own path and creating random shapes, which is quite nice. Okay, that's some cobalt, ultramarine, burnt sienna. Makes it quite dark, but leaving it still on the blue side. So I tilt the board one way and then lift it straight up and just allow it to kind of form its own reflection. So just grab the small calligraphy brush and just tease out some branches. Again, tilt the board, allow the paint to find some of those areas. Okay, just give it a bit of a shake as well, allow everything to move on its own. And then bring it back the other way. That's looking okay. I think I'll mix up just a bit of a dark with some ultramarine, burnt sienna. And just drop that in at the base of those trees. Hopefully create a bit of a shadow. And just tilt that side to side, allow that to merge. Okay, now I don't want that to go all the way up, so I'll just let it flow for a little bit and bring it level. And just tease out a few more small branches and twigs. Just basically where some of the paint has beaded up, just allow it to get to the edge of the paper. And that's created quite a nice shadow. Okay, just tease some of that down into the reflection as well. Just bring the bead of water over to the other side. Very loosely add in a few more reflections of the branches and a couple of random little distant trees. I'm going to grab a piece of paper towel, just roll that up into a ball and then just lift some of the paint out just to create a misty effect. You see when you lift it, it leaves some of the blue paint behind and creates quite a nice effect of light behind the trees. I don't want to do too much of that. I think I'll move on to the other side now. So I grab the cling film again and just clean out that well because I want a bit of cleaner colour in there. And just pick up some raw sienna and some more Indian yellow. And a touch of cerulean. Just give the area a quick mist. And again, straight in with the cling film. Don't need too much of this, just create some foliage. And a reflection down in the water. Sorry about my arm in the way there. Can't get the camera in a decent position with the board laid flat. I'm just marking out some tree trunks again. And just bring some branches over, pretty much to meet the branches on the left, just so it kind of closes the gap and forms a connection. Again, sorry for the arm in the way. Like I said, the camera can't get in a decent position. Okay, just pick up the larger brush again. So some more cerulean, more raw sienna. Again, quite wet, just drop that in at the base of the trees. And just tilt the board again. I don't want this area on the right to be as dark as the left. So just to give the impression of the sun shining behind. And just pull that down, move it around a little bit. Mix a slightly darker green, just some ultramarine, Indian yellow, and just pull that across horizontally, just give the impression of a riverbank. I don't want it to be too hard an edge, or not hard edge at all really. I want it to be quite light. But just give the impression really of just a bit of structure. The same as before, just use the paper towel just to lift some of the paint out, create the misty effect. Let's dry that off and see what it looks like. Okay, that's fully dry. I'm just having a look, and I possibly could do more to that, but I like the way it looks. It has a nice contre-jour look, like you're looking into the sun on a winter's day down by the river. So no hard edges, no definition on anything really, but it still reads as trees and water and reflections. So I think I'll leave it as it is. Let's take the tape off and have a look with the finished edge. And there you go, hope you like that. You can see what you can do with just a bit of cling film or plastic wrap. It's a nice, simple technique really. One thing to note, if you're going to give it a go, keep an eye on how much water you're using. That's the most important thing. Please do give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know down in the comments if you've got any questions. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.